and gentlemen of the press. Shh, 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 shh. Please, can we listen?
Hello, Honorable Mrs. Morley, distinguished and esteemed committee of Miss World, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear new friends. My name is Idil Bilgen, and I'm honored to stand before you today as both a doctor and Miss Turkey 2024. Last summer, I graduated from Koç University School of Medicine in Istanbul and achieved my lifelong dream of becoming a physician. I grew up as a daughter of a 16-year metastatic breast cancer patient, and therefore I was very early exposed to the field of oncology. Indeed, I would first like to start by honoring the woman who shaped the core of who I am today, my late mother, Ayşe Bilgen. She symbolized grace, elegance, strength, and resilience. It was impossible not to be inspired by her. After her demise 7 years ago, I knew I wanted to use my medical degree to reach for broader audiences and advocate for early detection, prevention, and screening of breast cancer. Because no family should have to endure the sorrow, the stress, the burden, and trauma of a cancer diagnosis and loss of a mother to a cancer that is preventable, treatable, and even curable if detected at the correct time. Throughout my training, I collaborated with leading pioneering institutions such as Princess Margaret Cancer Center in Canada and NYU Langone Perlmutter Cancer Center in New York. And there I conducted research with breast cancer surgeons and radiation oncologists, where recently, for the past few years, I've been presenting our findings and publications at international conferences. Before moving to Istanbul, I actually had the privilege of a very diverse upbringing, growing up in various cities across the world. Amid the constant change in my life, one thing never changed, and that was my unwavering dedication to medicine, academic research, and advocacy for women's health. I would like to emphasize the profound role that oncologists play in the lives of their patients. We become companions for both their struggles and their victories, and that is why I am in the field of oncology. As a female physician, I am committed to advancing women's health. 2 preventable diseases continue to remain the top causes of cancer-related deaths in women worldwide. What are they? Yes, indeed, they are breast and cervical cancers. In this age of innovation, we have a remarkable opportunity before us to prevent and intervene before harm is done. Early detection and prevention are no longer distant ideals. They are within reach. As physicians, our mission is clear: the health and well-being of our patients. But let me ask you, are we here just to treat, or are we here to protect, to prevent, and guide? To answer this question, I moved to Kyiv, Ukraine in December 2024 of this year, at a time when the country was at its 3rd year of war. I saw women shouldering the burden of home and homeland. Women roles doubled, responsibilities grew. They had to become men and woman. So what does this mean? They actually had to become husband and wife, father and mother, son and daughter, because as the men in their families went to the front line to serve for their country, women stayed behind, taking on doubling the responsibilities of their families. So for them, their health became secondary. In Kiev, I partnered with Madame Tetiana Sibia, the esteemed spouse of His Excellency, the Ukrainian Foreign Minister, and the head of the Ukrainian Diplomatic Spouse Association. With Madame Sibia, we held awareness events uniting local NGOs, United Nations agencies, local hospitals, laboratories, and clinics to empower and educate on breast cancer prevention, early detection, and screening. Indeed, soon my mission expanded to cervical cancer upon the request of Ukrainian gynecologists. I actually started collaborating with Dr. Tetiana, who requested to work together, whom I send my kind regards to from here. Together, we delivered seminars on HPV infections, vaccination, pap smear screening to eradicate cervical cancer in Ukraine. Indeed, the Minister of Health of Ukraine attended one of our symposiums focused on the eradication of cervical cancer. During Cervical Cancer Awareness Month in January, I also remotely collaborated with the Turkish Cancer Society, where we held educational sessions on social media to educate the Turkish people on HPV infections, HPV vaccinations, pap smear screening, and the importance of early detection of cervical cancer. And I taught about these based on international guidelines from ACS, the American Cancer Society, ACOG, American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and the CDC. With all this said, I would like to end on a final note. Being a young woman today means breaking boundaries, rewriting the rules, and embracing every dimension of who you are. A strong education and career does not mean sacrificing our femininity or beauty. Women can be both successful professionals as well as radiant in their femininity and grace. We don't have to choose between professions and the elegance that define us. Women are dynamic blends of ambition and compassion, intellect and elegance. When asked to define beauty, I always return to one truth. Physical beauty is temporary, yet inner beauty is timeless. This is why I see the Miss World platform as a powerful stage, not just for crowns, but for causes. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Turkey.
So, for you, for the final time, the question is, how has working on your Beauty with a Purpose project changed the way you see your role as a woman in your community and in the world?
Thank you for the question. Welcome, everyone. It is such a privilege to be here today and speaking before you regarding this question, actually. So all my life, I wanted to become a doctor, especially in the field of oncology. And recently, I started to pursue my career in radiation oncology, doing all my research in that field, especially regarding breast cancer. For me, this was very important to advocate for breast cancer prevention, screening, and early detection in my community, internationally and nationally as well, in honor of my mother. She was a breast cancer patient for 16 years. She was very strong and brave, and unfortunately, she passed away due to this condition. But after her demise, I realized that more people need to be aware of this cancer, of this condition, and we need to advocate for it. So people that could do this best are the ones who have experienced it, who have felt the fear, uncertainty, and stress of a cancer diagnosis in the family and the treatment phase, which we did for 16 years. So in my community, in both Turkey, throughout my research, I actually conducted academic research on prevention, especially during the pandemic, where we held where we wrote publications on the importance of early detection and for women to continue going to their screenings, mammogram screenings, to continue treatment despite the burden of the COVID-19 pandemic. That was one of my work, actually, that I did with Princess Margaret Cancer Centre in Toronto. And with my Beauty with a Purpose project recently, I've been doing this work in Ukraine, holding seminars and symposiums to teach women about the importance of mammogram screenings according to guidelines, for them to not be scared to actually go to that hospital, to enter that clinic for their screening. Because some women choose to avoid it, but it should not be avoided, because if detected early, that cancer, that condition is treatable and sometimes curable. So in this way, you not only save yourself as a woman, but also you protect your family. This way, your children, your family, your husband, your family does not fall apart. You stay together as a whole. And no children should have to separate from their mothers due to a condition that could be prevented, that could be treated if detected early in time. And with my Purpose project, I've been trying to advocate for this in Turkey through remote collaborations with the Turkish Cancer Society, and in Ukraine with the Ukrainian Diplomatic Spouse Association and the Ukrainian Foreign Minister's wife. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you there. And our final speaker here, Turkey. What, in an increasingly globalized world, how can we preserve our cultural heritage while embracing unity and diversity?
Thank you very much for the question. I think it's very important because at this time of the world where there's so much conflict going on, cultural heritage and the respect for international differences is very important and valuable. So to preserve cultural heritage among this increasing globalization, consulates and embassies have a major role of holding and hosting events that embrace countries' deep-rooted traditions, histories, cultures, music, arts, and cuisine. By holding such events, they actually unite different citizens of the world together to learn and acknowledge our differences as well as our similarities, because unity is strengthened and celebrated with diversity, not as a barrier, but as a form for us to actually encourage our diversity together. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And